Hi everybody, welcome to Live Blogger. In this tutorial series, we are creating a quiz for our website. We have almost completed it, and the only thing remaining is calculating and displaying the result and some other minor things in our quiz. So that's what we're going to do in this video. So let's get started. Now this is our result as of now. We can see that we have this quiz screen over here, and we have these options over here. When we click on the next button, we have the next question and the options. And when we click on the next button once more, we have the next question, which is the last one, because we have 3 questions in our quiz. And then if we click on the next button once more, we get the result. So let's refresh our page, and I would like to make a little change in this text over here. So when we are on the last question, this text should change to submit. Let's go to our main.js file, and let's go to the code which is written for the next button. So if we scroll down, we can see that we have this next button event listener over here. So these are all the lines of code that we had written in the previous videos of this tutorial series. So if you haven't watched them, you can watch it. I will leave the link of the playlist in the description of this video. So here we have the question number incremented over here, and in this way we are displaying the next question. And here we will add one more if condition. So here we can see that it says if question number is less than total questions. Now here we will add one more if condition, and we will type if question number is equal to the total questions minus 1. Now this if statement will be true if we are on the last question in our quiz. So here we need to access this next button. So let's type next btn dot inner text equals, and we will change the text to finish. Alright, so now when we are on the last question, this text will change to finish. So let's test it out. This is the first question. Let's click on the next one. This is the second question, and let's click on the next button. And this is the last question, and we have the text finish displayed over here. And when we click on finish, our quiz ends, and we have this result displayed over here. Alright, now the next thing we'll do is we will remove the active class that we already have in our HTML. So if I refresh this page, we can see that our quiz screen is active by default. So let's go over here to index.html, and we had added this active class just for testing. So let's remove that, and here we have the start quiz button. And when we click on the start quiz button, we have this quiz screen displayed over here. And we can click on the next button and finish it, and we have this result over here. And I think we already have the code for the retake and the close buttons. So let's click on the retake button, and the quiz screen is displayed once more. But we can see that the last question is being displayed over here, and we also have the close button. So we have written the code for the close button as well. So let's click on the close button, and now if we click on start quiz, we have the quiz screen displayed once more, but we still have the last question over here. We'll fix that. So let's go back to our main.js file, and here we can see that we have this code for the start quiz button. Now when we start the quiz, the question number should be set to 0, and all the other variables should be reset. So let's create a new function over here. We'll just name this function init for initialization. So here we have created this arrow function called init, and in that we will reset all the values. So we will set the question number to 0. We'll also change the text of the next button back to next. So next button dot inner text equals next, because we have changed it to finish when we are on the last question. Alright, so now we have this init function where we are resetting the values. So here in the start quiz button, let's go ahead and call the function. So I'll just type init over here, and let's scroll down and add the init to the retake quiz button as well. So here I will just type init, Now let's click on the start quiz button, and we can see that the first question is being displayed over here. Let's click on the next button. We have the next question, and we have the last question and the finish button over here. Let's click on retake quiz, and here we don't have the first question being displayed, so I think we also need to call the display questions function over here. So I'll just type question number, and we have to call the display questions function in our start quiz button as well. So let's add it over here. Right, now let's test it once more. Here we have the first question, next, finish, retake, and it is working all right. Close and start quiz, and everything is working all right. Right, now the next thing to do is whenever we click on any of these radio buttons, we need to store the value of this radio button somewhere so that we can check whether the answer is correct or not. But before that, let's go ahead and give some styling to the checked button. So if I click on this Java option, it is checked, but we don't have any particular styles over here for that. So let's go to style.css and let's add some styling for the checked state. So let's type quiz container, options container, input of type radio colon checked. And when we have this radio button checked, we want to add some styling to the label. So let's type plus label, because the label is after the radio button. So if you go over here to inspect, here we can see we have this input, and after that we have the label, then we have the input, then we have the label. So since we have the label after the input, we can add the plus selector. So for the label, we will just I think we can just give a red background color. I think it will look nice. Let's add it over here, and we'll also need to change the color to white. I think that looks fine. So let's add that style over here to our CSS. So we will type background color of this red color that we have over here, and color of the text to white. Alright, so let's go back and see whether it works. So let's click on Google Chrome, and now we can see that we have this style for the Google Chrome option. Let's click on Python, and now we can see which of these options is selected by the user. Right, now whenever the user selects any of these options, we want to store it somewhere as a variable, and then later we'll be able to check whether the answer is correct or not. Now for that, we'll go ahead and add an event listener to the radio buttons. So we'll add an event listener for the change event. So for that, let's go over here to main.js, and this is where we are creating the radio buttons. So we have this display questions function, and this is the code where the radio button is being created. So we'll type option radio button dot add event listener, and here we will type change. So whenever the state of the radio button changes, this event will be fired. So here we'll just name a function. So just type store answer, and we'll create this function. So let's type store answer const store answer, and when we call this function from the event listener, we also get a value. So let's call that value O over here. You can call this anything you want. Now this variable will tell us which of the radio buttons was clicked. So let's go ahead and create a new variable for storing the answer. So here we'll just type let user answer equals blank, and here we will go ahead and we will type if O. So we are checking whether any of the radio buttons are pressed. So if the radio button is pressed, then we'll type user answer, and we'll store the value of the radio button to the user answer. So we'll just type O, and to access that element you have to type target. So this will access the radio button. Now we don't want to store the value of the radio button, we want to store the value which is inside the label. So let's type next element sibling. So this will get us the next element, which is the label, and then we need to type inner text. Now this will get the value of the label, and we are storing it inside the user answer variable. And if you don't have any value for that, then we'll just set the user answer to blank. Right, now let's just print out the answer and see whether it is being stored. So here I'll just type console.log, and I'll just type user answer, and here I will just type user answer. So now we'll be able to see whether the answer is being stored. So let's go back to our quiz, and here I'll just go to console, and let's click on start quiz, and let's click on one of these options. Let's click on Java, and the page is not being refreshed, so that's why the answer is not being updated. So let's go back and cut this from here, and we will add it right here. So whenever we are storing the answer, we are also displaying it on our console. So let's do it once more. Let's click on start quiz, and let's click on Java, and we can see that it says user answer Java. Let's click on Google Chrome. It says user answer Google Chrome. So we can see that the answer is being stored correctly. Let's click on next, and let's click on the first option over here, and we can see that the answer is being stored correctly. So now it's just a matter of checking whether the answer is correct or not whenever the user clicks on the next button. Right, so now let's create a function for checking whether the answer is correct or not. And if the answer is correct, then we will increment the score of the user. So let's also create a variable for the score. So here we'll just type let user score equals 0, and in the init we will go ahead and set the user score to 0 by default. So whenever the quiz starts, the user score will be 0. Right, now let's create this function for checking the answer. So let's type check answer. So let's type const check answer, and we'll type if user answer is equal to, and we will access the correct answer from the questions array over here. So we have to go to questions, and then you have to go to question number, and then in that we have to go to the correct answer. So let's type questions. For the question number, we will type question number because we already have a variable for that, and this variable stores the current question number, and then in that we have the correct answer. So here we are just checking whether the correct answer is equal to the user answer. Now if that's the case, then we have to increment the score of the user. So we'll just type user score plus plus. So this will increment the user score by 1. If you want to increment it by any other number, you can just type user score plus equals any number over here, like 5 or 10 or anything you want. For now I'll just type user score plus plus. Now the next thing you need to do is call this function check answer when we are clicking on the next button. So let's see where is the code for the next button. So here we have the code for the next button. So here I will just type check answer. Now when the user clicks on the next button, the answer is checked and the user score is updated. So let's also type console.log user score. Right, so now let's test it out. Let's click on start quiz, and we have this quiz. Let's click on the correct answer, which is Google Chrome, and we can see that the user score is 1. And let's click on the wrong option for this question. I'll just select this one right here and click on next, and we can see that the user score is still 1. Now let's click on the correct answer for this question. We just press true, and we'll just click on finish, and now we can see that we have the user score of 2. So everything is working alright. Now the last thing we need to do is just add the score right here. So let's go back and let's create a function. So here I will just type show the result, and we'll create a function, and we'll just name it show result. and we'll calculate the percentage of the result. So I'll just type let percentage equals. Now to calculate the percentage, you have to type user score divided by the total questions times 100. So it will give you the percentage. Now if the percentage of the user is greater than or equal to 60, then we will add some text, and if the percentage is less than 60, then we'll have some other text over here. Now these are for the headings, so this right here, we just type congratulations when the user score is more than 60%, and if it is less than 60%, we just type you can do better or something like that. So let's access this element. So if you go to index.html, we can see in the quiz result container we have this h2. So I'll just give it a class and we'll just type result heading, and then for the result text we already have this class called score text. So let's reference both of these in our JavaScript. So let's go back to main.js, and here we will type const result heading equals document.querySelector result heading, and then we have score text equals document.querySelector score text. Right, let's go ahead and access them over here. Here we will type result heading dot inner text equals congratulations, and if it is less than 60%, we'll just type result heading dot inner text equals you can do better, and score text dot inner text, and we'll set it equal to you have scored, and we can add the variable over here by concatenation, or you can even just use template strings. So you can just use this backtick, and then you can type the sentence over here, you have scored. Now to add a variable, you can just type $sign and curly brackets, and for the variable we'll type user score, and then we'll type out of, and then we have another variable total questions, and then we have a full stop. Now the only thing you need to do is call this function when the quiz ends. So let's go to the code for the next button, and here we can see that in this else block we have the code for when the quiz ends. So here we can see quiz result container is being shown over here. Now here we'll just type show result. Alright, now everything should work alright. So let's test it once more. We'll click on start quiz, and let's click on the correct answer, and let's click on the correct answer over here, and we'll just click on the wrong answer over here and click on finish. And we have some problem, cannot set property inner text of null. It is at 170. Let's go ahead and see what's the problem. So we have some problem with the result heading. Let's scroll up over here, and let's go back to our index.html, and I think we haven't saved it, so that's the problem. Let's test it once more. Right, now we can see that the correct score is being displayed over here. We have scored 2 out of 3, and congratulations is being displayed over here. Let's retake the quiz, and let's provide all the wrong answers. So just type Java combined processing unit and false. So now it says you can do better, and we have the correct score over here. Let's try answering all the questions correctly. And we can see we have 3 out of 3. So that's basically how you display the result of your quiz. So that's it for this video. We have created the result, and we have displayed, and we have calculated the result and the percentage and everything. So if you have any doubts, you can ask in the comments below, and if you like this video, please click on the like button and subscribe to this channel to get the latest video updates. Thanks a lot for watching. Have a nice day.